welcome back to Mended, episode 13. We have Shannon White here.
Hi.
Thank you for coming.
A lot of people, this is something I always say to my husband.
Shannon Lundeen.
Lundeen. So I tell my husband, nobody knows me as Shannon White, but they know you as Shannon Lundeen's husband. So, I mean,
that's okay.
It's whatever you want to call me.
Do you go by both?
Yeah.
That's okay.
It's in like the recovery world and in like my work world, everybody knows me as Shannon Lundeen, but let's say in like my church family or things like that, everybody calls me Shannon White.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think I've said your name in the past or like have mentioned you and people are like Shannon Lundeen. And
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah. Exactly. Yep.
Okay, perfect. So Shannon Lundeen White.
Yes. I'll take that.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. Share a little bit about yourself. Tell us a little bit about where you come from, your background, anything you feel comfortable.
Yeah, I'm pretty much an open book. I am a woman in long-term recovery. I've been clean and sober for 21 years. My recovery date is May 15th, 2004. Sometimes I feel weird when I say that because I'm 46. I got sober at 25. And I think I mentioned last night when we were at the event, I know that it's not a common thing that a girl my age from Charlestown who was an IV heroin user, who overdosed multiple times, who pretty much outlived all her childhood friends, gets it at 25 years old and stays.
Yeah, super rare.
Yes, so I'm very grateful for that. And then sometimes I feel, yes, I know I'm 46, but I don't feel 46. And I feel like 21 years is too long to be sober for 46 years. It's weird. It's like these weird thoughts that I have.
Yeah.
Also, like, my disease still talks to me in my own voice. And sometimes, like, when someone meets me who doesn't know me and I tell them I've been sober for 21 years, I think that they're thinking I must have just smoked weed and I need them to know I shot heroin.
Yeah, no, you need to like emphasize
it's crazy. But why does it matter?
I know. It doesn't matter, and I understand it, but you want people to know that like you're not...
That I've been through some shit and I overcame.
And you want a level of seriousness attached to like when you speak or when people get to know you. I can respect that.
Yeah, and it's like I want people to know that I've been through some shit, not to necessarily wear it as a badge of honor, but just so that they know, like, I've been through some shit. If you're here talking to me about your own issues with addiction, then I know you've been through some shit. And if I can overcome, you can too. Mm-hmm. I grew up in Charlestown my whole life. Charlestown's 1 square mile. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody knows everybody's business. It's a blessing and a curse. One thing I always share is that when tragedy strikes, my community comes together like nothing I've ever seen. And we've seen a lot of tragedy in Charlestown. I have 4 daughters. I have my kids every 10 years, basically. My oldest daughter is 26. She was 4 going on 5 when I got sober. My second daughter is 17. Their dad died of an overdose in 2016. And then when I got married, I told my husband I was doing this one time, meaning being pregnant. And he said, I'm going to pray for twin boys. And we got twin girls, and they're 6. So
twins run in your family?
They run in both of our families, but mine are all like old and dead. So I wasn't like thinking that I wasn't actually thinking it because I got pregnant naturally. They were 6 pounds each. I had 6-pound twins at 39 years old, and I went 38 weeks.
Wow.
Yeah. So
wow.
I know, but that means I'm healthy, right?
Yeah.
So, but I grew up in Charlestown. I grew up in a single parent home, broken family. We grew up very poor. My mother was a single mother. She was on welfare, working under the table to take care of us. My father was an alcoholic and an addict. And I have a sister that's 5 years older than me from my mother's first marriage. But my father used to tell us she wasn't our real sister because she had a different father than us. We never felt that way. We don't even say that. Like, that's just my sister.
Yeah,
you know?
there's no half sisters.
And I'll never forget, like, when he sat me and my 2 younger siblings down back in the day at Papagino's. They used to have beer and wine. And so when he would take us anywhere, he would take us to a place where there was alcohol. Yeah. Sat us, all 3 of us, down in the bench and said, you know, your sister's only your half sister. She's not your real, like, full sister. And I just remember, like, crying, like, what are you talking about? But anyway, so like my role in the family is the strong one. I love that that's how people see me because that is how I am. At the same time,
it's a lot to carry.
It makes me feel like I have no room to be human. And so when I do go through things, I tend to just like keep going, like, and distract myself and kind of like take on more than I should instead of actually like sitting with it and feeling, dealing, and healing.
And processing.
Yes, yeah. So I suck at that, and I own that. But, you know, I remember laying in bed at night and waiting for the doorknob to turn, wondering if it would be one of those nights where my father would, like, beat the crap out of my mother and the cops would come, or hopefully he would pass out on the couch. But usually it was, you know, the cops showing up. And, you know, my older sister would run to the neighbor's house. My younger brother and sister would hide under the bed. And I'd sit on the couch and hold my mother physically. I was 5. I still remember this because that was my way of protecting her. Obviously, I couldn't physically fight him off, but that was my way of protecting her. And he just used to drill her, call her every name in the book. And then he was leaving, and I was the same size as the doorknob. And I ran to go lock the door. And he came back in and kicked the door in because he wanted to come back and hit my mom one more time. And the doorknob split my head open. And my mom hid me in the bathroom with a towel on my head because she was afraid that the cops would take me. And I remember these feelings at this age. I remember seeing the handcuffs go on my dad and feeling so bad that he was getting arrested, but so angry at the same time because here's this man who's supposed to love, protect, and provide, and he's doing the complete opposite. And then it also made me feel like something was wrong with me. Something must be wrong with me because here's this man who's supposed to love me. And how's a girl supposed to know what love looks like on a man if the first one in her life doesn't show her, right?
She doesn't.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't have an example of that. And, you know, so angry at him. And, you know, he's basically in and out of my life till I was 10, and then I never saw him again. My mother struggled. You know, my mother was very loving. She was very affectionate. We knew she loved us. But she struggled with her own, like, anxiety and depression. She wasn't an alcoholic or an addict. She died from lung cancer at 55 years old. And
so she probably struggled because she was untreated for all the trauma.
Yeah. I mean, she did see, like, a therapist and stuff, but she was just, I think those things also contributed to her sickness. Like, when she got sick with cancer, like, the depression and the anxiety. I remember, like, worrying about if the rent was going to get paid because she struggled so much, you know. And, you know, I had my first drink at the age of 12, and that's that, like, awkward age, you know. And
my daughter's 12 right now.
Yeah. And, like, you start hanging with boys more. And I remember I felt ugly. I felt stupid. I felt like something was wrong with me, still carrying those feelings, like I wasn't good enough. And when I drank, I didn't necessarily like the taste, but I liked how it made me feel. Like, I thought I was funny, and, like, I was flirting, if I even knew what that was at the time. And I just remember I couldn't wait to do it again. And I also struggled with an eating disorder for a little while when I couldn't control what was going in and out of when I couldn't control what was going on in my life. I controlled what was going in and out of my body, and, like, every pound lost was a point for me.
Yep.
And then it just progressed from there, like the smoking the marijuana, or, like, I was stealing cars. I was going to Catholic school. My mother, we had to go to Catholic school growing up in Charlestown. That's what she worked at, the rectory. That's where she worked, under the table, so we could go to Catholic school. And me and my friend Paul, he's passed away since from an overdose. The nuns and the priests treated us differently because we came from broken homes. And when I say differently, I don't mean in a good way. Like, they treated us like we were less than, basically shunned us when they should have drawn us closer. But it progressed, like, with Klonopins and cocaine and, like, angel dust and all, like, the experimenting. And I loved cocaine for a long time. And what I liked about it was I could drink more. And it was like, it killed my appetite. And it was like this truth serum, and I could tell you how I really felt about you. Yeah. You know?
It was like killing 2 birds with 1 stone. You didn't even need to eat. Never mind count the points of every point lost.
Oh, God. And sometimes I think about it, too, because, like, I always think about, like, why was that fun for me? Like, I would always end up with people I wouldn't normally hang out with. And I'm not saying that meaning, like, I'm better than. They're just people I wouldn't have hung out with.
Yeah, separate cliques, whatever.
Yeah, and then at the end of the night, I'm with somebody that's, like, basically, like, gnawing on their own, like, sweatshirt, someone who's paranoid out the peak hole, and then another person who's dominating the conversation and won't let anybody else get a word in edgewise.
And the birds are starting to chirp.
And then I'm not, the pterodactyls, I call them. Oh my God, caca. And I just like remember trying to go to bed, like go to sleep after that and gnawing on my own pillow. And then like having to get up the next day, you know, and like I didn't have anything to show for my life. And then, you know, I got into like the whole Oxycontin, like basically wiped out my whole generation. You know, I always thought like, okay, well, I'm not as bad as you because I'm taking Oxycontin and you're sniffing it. And then I'm not as bad as you because I'm sniffing Oxycontin and you're taking 5 OC80s a day. Do you know, like, oh, now you're sniffing heroin and I'm just taking 5 Oxycontin. Yeah, now you're shooting heroin, I'm sniffing heroin. I thought I would never put a needle in my arm, and I did. And there was times where like I would be in project hallways like with the needle in my using against my own will. Like I literally didn't want to do it, but I was either so sick or the obsession was so strong that I like didn't have a choice. And you know, when I got pregnant at 19 with my first daughter, I was with her father since I was 15 years old. So like we had this like long history, you know, that like young, powerful, possessive love.
Yeah, I had my daughter at 19. I was with him since 15 too.
Yeah, see?
Same exact thing.
My uncles were in his mother and father's wedding. So like the history is just so, and I thought, oh, okay, I'm pregnant. You know, now I'm going to have something to live for and wake up for every day, not understanding like that I have these underlying issues that need to be addressed, and I'm no good to anybody unless I take care of that first.
And that the disease is stronger.
Yeah. Yep. And so, you know, then I remember I couldn't wait to not be pregnant. Actually, I didn't even get into like really get into the OCs and like the heroin until after I had her. But I couldn't wait to not be pregnant so I could go out and party because I felt like he can go out and do whatever he wants all the time.
Yeah, you were jealous the
whole
time.
I was jealous. I was pissed. Like, I wanted to go out too. I wanted to do this and that. Like, why do I don't want to use the word why do I get stuck because...
No, but that's what you were feeling at the time.
Yeah. And, you know, my mother would always watch her while I was out partying. And, like, I promised my mother I'd come home at this time. And I wouldn't come home for a few days.
Yeah, you just weren't done.
I just wasn't done. And then, you know... I had my own apartment, and I'll never forget I got a letter on the door from DCF one day. Now, I would be up all night partying, people in my house, and then, like, my daughter would just want to get up the next day and, like, play or go outside, and I would, like, I still get emotional about this part because I think about it, but, like, I would just throw her in front of the TV with a DVD and a bowl of, like, dried Cheerios because I had no milk in the house, you know? And I got the letter on the door from DCF, and I was furious.
Yeah, like how dare they?
Because this is Charlestown, and I could tell you something about whoever sent that, whoever called on me, I could tell you something about them.
Yeah, and you could be serving them too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so then when I had the appointment with the DCF worker, she came to my mother's house, not my house. Me, her, and my mother was sitting around the table, and I'm badgering this woman. Like, all I care about is who called on me, not like
what could
potentially happen with my daughter.
Yeah.
And I'm like, lady, do you know anything about Charlestown?
Yeah.
Like, I was such an idiot, like such a brat. Like, do you know anything about Charlestown? Like what people do here? And I'm like, who called on me? My mother slammed her hand on the table and she said, I called on you.
Nah.
Yeah. Yep.
Wow, I wasn't expecting that.
No. And the thing is like, despite my mother's own like struggles with her, like her anxiety or depression, because my mother went through some stuff too, you know, and she didn't use drugs and alcohol, like I said, but she loved her kids and everybody knew that. And we knew that, you know, and like, even though we were poor, somehow we had the best Christmases every year. Like, I don't know how she did it. And I remember when my mother slammed her hand on the table and said, I called, all my friends, they had the parents that would cover for them. Whether it was with like school or work or like probation, court, whatever. Not my mother. She was the opposite. My mother knew my probation officer before I did. And I was so mad. I was like, it figures I get the mother that rats her out, you know? And
yeah, but how badly you needed that, you had no idea.
Exactly. How blessed that I get the mother that cared enough. You know, she was willing to go to any lengths and do whatever she had to protect me. You know, she's found me overdose. And, you know, by this time, friends and people in the neighborhood really like started dying all the time. Yeah. And she had temporary guardianship of my daughter for like 2 years, and then I wasn't allowed near her unless I was doing what I was supposed to. And so I had warrants I remember I was in and out of detoxes, in and out of like different like 30-day programs. I hate saying back then.
Ages you.
I hate it. But there used to be this program called, I think the Access program is still there, but it was called the Heritage. It was on Central Street in Cambridge. It was a 30-day program. I was there a bunch of times, in and out of Somerville detox all the time. I say this all the time too. Like, that was my favorite detox. Like, who the hell wants to have a favorite detox? Like, that was my goal.
Yeah.
And it was because I liked that they gave you the shot in the ass. And I liked the Irish lady Bernie that was there.
Yeah.
And she favored the Charlestown kids. So that's why I wanted to go there.
Yep.
And
you knew what was up.
yeah. And
Imagine
so
how it is now.
Oh,
With everyone in their favorite detoxes.
I know,
So-
I know. And I've been to other detoxes, but that was like where that's where I felt comfortable, okay? And so I used to also go to this program called the Access program, which was inside of a wet shelter. And so, a wet shelter is where people can come there under the influence. They just can't bring like stuff in with them.
Yeah.
So the Access program was like a part of the shelter, but you did have to like go through the shelter and interact with people. You had your room with other sober people, and then you had a common room that was just for the people in the Access program. And I was 22, and I remember I walked in there. It smelled like feet, ass, like piss, you name it. And I was like crying. I'm like, oh my God, how did I end up here? Then I got comfortable.
Yep.
I was hanging out, was playing cards,
This is
laughing.
one of your go-to places now.
Yeah.
Imagine how quickly.
And the lady who was running the program at the time, she's like, Shannon, if you're 22 years old, you have a 2-year-old daughter, if you're comfortable with being in a wet shelter, that should be a red flag that something's wrong.
Yeah.
And that didn't even hit me right away. And I remember like leaving there, going to Charlestown to cop, because everybody goes to Charlestown because a lot of the drugs are. And then I go like to turn the corner to go to my house that I wasn't allowed at. I probably weighed 100 pounds, and there was like 7 cruisers outside of there because someone spotted me on Main Street in Charlestown, and she calls. She was like this with she would invite him in for tea, you name it. And I mean, eventually I went to a program called the Meridian House, which is underneath the North Suffolk umbrella. But I only went there because it was temporarily in Charlestown. This was getting renovated in East Boston.
Oh, okay.
And there was boys there. So my thought process was, I'm going to go to this program. It's co-ed. That should be fun. And it's in Charlestown, and they're going to know I'm a townie, and I'm going to skate through.
I'm going to run shit.
They're just going to leave me alone. And the guy that just became the program manager was this Irish boxer from Kerry, Ireland, named Tony. I'm like, this is going to be great.
Yeah.
I'm Irish. He's Irish. And he saw the mentality that I had, like, and he was so hard on me. And if you know anything about the Meridian House, it's not as strict now as it was back then, but it's based on behavior modification. You have to confront yourself in the eyes of your peers. So a slipping system, I'm like, I'm not doing that.
Being called out by other people?
I can't rat on anybody.
Yep.
I'm not doing that. And so, like, slips on Shannon lasted a half hour, 45 minutes.
Nah.
Yep, they told me I was a sneak. They said I was a liar. They said I was entitled. I was manipulative. I was very combative. I used to be it took me a long time, even, like, in my early recovery years, to, like, not be that way. I thought I had to, because when I grew up, like, in Charlestown, you had, like, during my era, you had to have this kill or be killed attitude all the time. Like, girls had to be like guys. And, like, I guess that really wasn't how I was inside, though, but I was just trying to survive.
Yeah.
And so now, like, I'm like,
I can't even imagine you being combative, honestly.
oh my God, I was awful.
Like, I know that everyone has their fire inside, and I'm sure, like, when it comes to you and you girls or whatever, right? But, like, to just be combative.
Oh, yeah.
To imagine you at 22 in the Meridian House, combative.
Oh, I was crazy. Oh yeah, I was so bad. And so I remember saying to somebody like, "Oh, I'm only here for 30 days," and they're like, "No, this is a 9 to 12 month program." I'm like, "Yeah, but I'm just here for 30 days."
Yeah, so delusional.
I know. And so then I get stipulated through the court, and the judge at the time, his name was Judge Sullivan. He was screaming at me.
Did you pick up a charge at this time?
So I had like warrants out for like driving without a license, hit and run, like shoplifting charges, like all that type. I owed all this like restitution and money, not checking into probation, violation of probation. I was on the color code for a while. I know that sounds like a lot, but it really wasn't anything too crazy.
Yeah.
So when but I didn't know what I didn't know either. So like when I got stipulated, the judge is screaming at me in the courtroom, I better never see you in this courtroom again. And I'm like, okay, so I got stipulated for 9 months. Now, finally, I realized like I have to start slipping people because someone said to me, Shannon, are you on the street or are you in here trying to like change? Like, this is the design of the house. And, you know, one of the LEs they call learning experiences or consequences that they were famous for was called an all day. So you used to have to sit in a chair for 12 hours and like wear a sign and couldn't talk.
Nuh-uh.
And that was if you got into verbal arguments with people.
Oh, so you were always...
Yes. If you got into arguments with like other clients or staff, or like if you deviated from your plan that you're supposed, like all that type of stuff. I broke every single rule that you could break except for get high. Because I will test the waters and see how far much I can get away with.
Yeah, and your disease was running rampant.
Yes.
So you had to figure out a way.
Yeah. And
fucking...
even if you tell me, if you do this is going to happen. Not that I don't believe you, but I have to know for myself.
Yeah.
You know, so
many people are like that.
So one day the Irish guy, Tony, was giving me I said to him, just give me a fucking all day. He was like, what? How about fucking 10 all days? And you could do them on the fucking weekend too. And, you know, I remember like telling somebody, oh, I'm on like 5 or 10 all days this week or whatever. And they're like, isn't that like degrading? And I understand why people would see it that way because different approaches work for different people.
Yeah.
But what sitting in that chair actually taught me was like how to sit with self.
Yep.
How to identify feelings.
Self-control.
And take responsibility for the behavior that got me in the chair. Like that's how I needed to learn.
Yeah.
Because if you coddle me, not that I don't need some compassion sometimes, I'll take advantage of that. I'm even that way in the gym. Mm-hmm. My trainer eats a sub and yells at me. Mm-hmm. But, you know, I even remember, like, one day, like, you know, I half-assed made my bed. You have to have your bed made right when you're on the floor. You can go back in a little while later to, like, you know, clean up your room, but the bed has to be made. And I, like, shimmied it because I didn't want to be late because he would make me get up an hour early for every minute I was late on the floor. And he caught me. He ripped everything off, put it in a garbage bag, told me I had to carry it with me everywhere for a week. Meetings, appointments, up and down Meridian Street.
All your bedding?
All my bedding in a garbage bag. Meetings, appointments, buses, trains. I got caught being sneaky because, of course, I got to try to figure a way to finagle this. Takes the comforter. I took the comforter out of the garbage bag, put the garbage bag in a backpack, and then would, like, pull the bag out when I came into the door. So I had it, and he caught me, so I had to do it for a month.
Oh, my God.
21 years later, my bed is made every single day. No one's making me do it. I don't know if you've ever seen that, like, Navy SEAL. He always talks about, like, making your bed in the morning, right? So, like, that's, like, your first goal that you achieve for the day. It sets your tone for the day. And so even if you have a crappy day after that, at least you come home to a made bed, you know? I used to have to, he made me do a skit with a mop. I had to write a song and dance and skit with the skit to a mop because I left it somewhere and didn't put it away where it went. Yeah, God. I know. That
was he like that with everyone? Or
no, mainly just me. And then there was a girl in there that I didn't get along with, so he made us sit with each other and go everywhere with each other for a month and write a paper on each other. And it was like, looking back, like the reasons why we didn't like each other was so stupid. Because she was from South Boston and I was from Charlestown. So stupid.
You stood on business, though. You did.
I'm like, okay. And then, like, I'll never forget, like, when I mentioned this last night at the event, too, but when someone said to me, like, Shannon, would you die for your daughter? And I'm like, of course I would, because I think I'm tough. And they said, well, why don't you live for her? And it was something that was, like, so simple and so profound. It struck me so hard. And, like, for a while in the Meridian house before I heard that said to me, I also overheard a client talking to another staff member saying, I give her 3 weeks. And that pissed me off because when someone tells me I can't do something, that just fuels me. So what really got me through for a minute was spite. And then when that comment was made to me, I realized, like, I'm no good to anybody else unless I take care of myself first. I'm no good to my daughter unless I take care of myself first. So, you know, I was getting in trouble up until I graduated.
Yeah, till the bitter end.
And, but I learned so much. I mean, it was a 9 to 12 month program. I graduated at 15 months. They called me the most challenging client.
Do you still go there today?
I was on the board of directors for North Suffolk for 8 years. Like, Meridian House has has and will always have a special place in my heart. I haven't been there in a while, but I'm always in the
Yeah.
what's going on there.
Where's Tony now?
You ready? Okay. So when the Meridian House where I met Tony was in Charlestown, it was at the YMCA Constitution Inn, which is in the Navy Yard.
Mm-hmm.
Tony just gave me my 20-year medallion, and then he started a boxing gym in the Constitution Inn, and then
Shut
I'm on the
up.
board of directors with him.
Shut
yeah,
up.
yeah. So it's like 20 years later, we kind of came back. Well, I've talked to him still over the years,
Yeah.
you know. He even tried to make an amends to me, though, because he thought he was
too
too
hard.
hard on me, but I wouldn't change it because I learned that's what I needed,
Yeah.
you know. And then, like, not growing up without a father, maybe in some sort of way, I felt like I was getting some sort of, like, fatherly discipline.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
Yeah, so
And you knew it came from a place of purity.
he used to be like, "Stop blowing smoke up my ass, Shannon." I can't say the next part.
You have a really good Irish accent.
But when I graduated there, I went to sober living. I had my get well job. I don't know if you remember. You might be too young, but there used to be like a Fantastic Sam's. It was like hair cuttery, like see. Okay, so it was like a hair cuttery chain, but it was called Fantastic Sam's. So
Okay.
I used to check in clients,
Yeah,
wash
reception.
hair, sweep the floors, and I owed all this money like to the court, and I was paying sober house rent, and it wasn't a lot of money. I was struggling, and my PO calls me. He says I was also doing community service at Rosie's Place in Boston, which I loved. But my PO calls me. He goes, Miss Lundeen, you need to come in today. I'm like, why? It's like, you still owe X amount of dollars. There's a possibility you could go away for like 60 or 90 days or something. Like, what are you talking about? I'm
Even
sober.
actively paying, or you weren't at the time?
Yes, I was doing community service at
Oh, yeah,
Rosie's
right.
Place, so I was knocking like money off. But he's like, yeah, it's a possibility. I'm not going to lie to you, so you need to come in. So now all I'm thinking about is the judge that screamed at me when I
Yeah.
got stipulated.
Never to be back here again.
I said, is Judge Sullivan there? He was like, when is he not here? He's on his way in, so get in here. So I go in. It's not Judge Sullivan. And then it was a different judge. And the judge goes, do you have the money, Miss Lundeen? And my PO, I had no clue what the hell was going on in the moment. My PO says, with all due respect, Your Honor, she just graduated the Meridian House and has 18 months sober. And I'm like, what's going on? And the judge says, come over here to me to the sidebar. And I'm like, is this legal?
What does he want?
So I go over to the sidebar. It's only me and the judge talking. No one else can hear us. And I'm not going to say his name for anonymity purposes, but he says, you graduated the Meridian House? That's a tough program. And I said, yes, Your Honor. He said, 18 months, huh? I said, yes, Your Honor. He pulled out his 25-year medallion,
Ugh.
just showed me. He said, I just celebrated 25 years. You're off probation. You owe no more money. Now, I didn't realize in that moment that my PO did that on purpose.
Yeah.
Set that up.
Yep.
And he hates when I tell that because he doesn't want people to know that there's like this good side to him. He wants to portray like this tough guy PO. And he can be stern and firm, but he's got compassion.
Yeah.
And, then after that, I ended up going to school. My first job was at an adolescent girls program called the Cushing House. It was under the Gavin Foundation. Then I worked for a community coalition, which was under MGH for 14 years. And I developed the Charlestown Recovery Court with my former PO.
Amazing.
Which was pretty cool.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. So we still do work together, on other stuff, and I see him on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then when I left the coalition, I've been working at Chapters. It opened in November of 2021, and I started working there in January of 2022. So coming up on 4 years, I've been there, and it was different from what I was used to.
Yeah.
Because I love being out like in the community. I love people. I love working with underserved populations and like those that are less fortunate. But I also believe in the power of group therapy.
Yeah.
It's so powerful. I might even believe in the power of group therapy more than like one-on-one therapy,
I prefer it.
Yeah. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, because you get the feedback and you get other people's perspectives and you have people that can relate to you instead of, we can go into the whole topic of therapy, but
Yep.
Yeah.
And just like watching people like make connections with other people in the room, especially people let's say it like is their first recovery attempt or their first time, like, and just like really understanding like the disease and the disease model and like how powerful it is, you know. I said this last night too, and I still believe it. Like, working in the fields for 19 years and being in recovery for 21 years, one thing that I've learned along the way is for most people is that trauma is the gateway for a lot of people. And you know, people will say, oh, it's alcohol, or the age of onset plays a big part, like how old you are when you have your first drink, which is true. Or marijuana is the gateway, or nicotine or whatever. But I believe some form of trauma, and trauma isn't just some sort of catastrophic event. It could be something like neglect, you know. And, you know, I love this guy. So his name's Gabor Mate. He's an expert in addiction, trauma, and childhood development. He's amazing. He wrote a number of books. One is called The Myth in the Realm of Hungry Ghosts and The Myth of Normal, and it's about like ADHD and stuff like that. But he talks about like addiction not being the problem, but in an attempt to solve a problem. And, you know, sometimes not sometimes, but we have to ask ourselves not why the addiction, but why the pain.
Yeah.
And like getting to the root causes of those things. And I feel like that's where like a lot of people struggle, and why they, you know, might be chronically relapsing, because, you know, they make all these attempts to get sober and they don't address the underlying causes. Like, they want to fix everything on the outside. I call that a dressed up garbage can. And they don't work on the things that they need to address, and then they come up again.
Yeah.
So
A lot of the times it's hard too, because I feel like trauma suppresses
I
it,
know.
and you can't even remember
Yeah.
the trauma that's keeping you
Mm-hmm.
like
Mhm.
active
Mhm.
a lot of the time.
Oh.
I can't remember a lot of my trauma. Like, I can't remember specific ages of
Mhm.
my life.
Mm-hmm.
So to even begin to try to work on them, I don't even know how I would
It's
do
scary.
that. Yeah.
Yeah. Another area of my life that I'm fortunate in, and you won't hear a lot of people say this, is so I have the same therapist that I've had since I was 12. And so me and I have a sister who's 2 years younger than me. Her name's Lauren. And then a brother who's, wait, did I say my sister was 1 or 2 years?
2.
1. She's 1 year younger than me. My brother's 2 years younger than me. And so we had to go see this child psychologist because of what we saw happening in our home with my dad. And so sometimes my brother would go, sometimes Lauren would have a fit and be like, no, I'm not doing it. And I always went. And I don't know why. I don't know if it was to appease my mother or
Probably
if I
you were the
liked
strong
it.
one.
And he says to me, I knew you were different at 12 years old. So like, he talks about how analytical I am and how I break things down. And he says, you've always been this way. So I'm fortunate in that regard. But I think so-called normal people could do the 12 steps, because I think everybody has hurts, habits, and hang-ups. It doesn't necessarily have to be a substance. I think everybody can benefit from some form of therapy.
Yeah.
We all need healing in
Yeah.
some area of our
We're
lives.
all in recovery from something.
Yeah, we're all in recovery from something, you know, and, my faith is very, very important to me. And, I grew up Catholic. I'm Christian, so I've been at my church for 18 years. I worked in youth ministry for 7 years. My church was located in Somerville, but when I was working at Fantastic Sam's, there was this woman there. You know how salons are, they're gossipy, drama. She wasn't. I'm like, what's up with this lady? And she was so good at what she did. She was overqualified to work there. She didn't need to. And I heard her talking to someone in her chair, and the lady was like, you must be so happy. You're so good at what you do. And she said, it's not my passion. And the woman said, well, what's your passion? And she said, I'm in the ministry. So my ears kind of like perked up. I've always been God conscious. I just didn't know. It's not about religion for me. It's about a relationship.
Yeah.
And when the customer left, I goes, what do you mean you're in the ministry? What does that mean? And she told me. And then I just said, I want to tell you something. And I was like a year sober at the time. And I said, I'm a heroin addict. And I was struggling to pay rent at the sober house because I wasn't on the schedule a lot at the salon. She took me in to live with her for 6 months. I got saved on her living room. Getting saved is just a prayer. It's not like a cult or anything. And then my mom got sick with cancer. And I went home back to Charlestown. Charlestown was only Catholic churches. I got pregnant with my second daughter. And so I was 3 years sober now. And it was very challenging because I'm losing one of the most important people in my life and bringing one into the world at the same time. And like, yeah, I'm 3 years sober, but that's still early recovery.
Yeah.
And so I just remember like I was walking somewhere and I was talking to God. I'm like, God, I just wish there was a Christian church like the one I was going to when I lived with Karen. That was her name. And this kid gets out of jail from Charlestown. He goes, Shannon, I found a Christian church in Somerville. So-and-so goes there, and so was an older lady from Charlestown. Do you want to check it out? I'm like, all right. So we go check it out. He was there that one time, and I've been there for 18 years. And they treated me like I was, like the pastor and his wife, they treated me like I was their kid. And here I am, 28 years old. Now my mother dies. I'm pregnant. Their father's running around getting high, sleeping with whoever. I'm devastated. I'm grieving. I'm hormonal. And I'll never forget the week after I had my daughter. I'm a single mother. I didn't have a lot. And I went to church and the whole wall was piled with diapers, gifts, wipes. Like I probably didn't buy a pack of diapers till she was 7 months old.
Nuh-uh. They did that for you?
They did that for me. Yep. And, when my mom died, my mom gave me my 3-year medallion and died 8 months later. And so when we were at home, she was at home dying with hospice, and she was so heavily medicated that, like, if you didn't know her, you couldn't really understand her. Some things you could understand, but it was just her and I in the living room, and she was talking about the turtle on the Discovery Channel. She kept saying, the turtle, and I'm like, yeah, Ma, the turtle. And a month after she died, I found a card that she had sent me 3.5 years prior when I was in the Meridian House, and it was a picture of a turtle with the Band-Aid, and it said, it's not the speed that matters, it's the getting there. And like that's how I got here. Yeah. Like I remember, like I wasn't supposed to be there for, in my mind, 30 days, then 9 months, but then I was there for 15 months. And that's even like, I also remember like my mom used to, I don't remember what the book was, but I remember a word she taught me in the book, serendipity, to find something on accident or to stumble upon something fortunate. And that's how I found my recovery too, because my intention was just to get my mom off my back, get the court off my back, get DCF off my back, and then like I found this new way of life. I didn't plan on getting sober, and it wasn't because I didn't want to necessarily. I just didn't believe that it could work for me. I believe it could work for you. It could work for you. I just couldn't fathom going to a funeral, going to a wedding, a party, towny Christmas, Bunker Hill Day without drinking or getting high. I just couldn't picture it. And like that's how I got here. And like, before I knew it, I'm 21 years sober. And now I have 4 daughters, And
you've done so many successful things. Like, so I feel like everything you say, you're like, I've done this. I've been on the coalition for this. I've done this. I've volunteered here. I was doing, like, you've done so much.
All I ever wanted was to be a good mother. More than anything. Now I am. But, like, I also want to be remembered for how I lived. Like, I've lost so many people. I've done more eulogies than I've been to like weddings and baby showers. And like when my children's father died, I was so devastated. Now he was out in California and he was talking to me, but like I was talking to him a lot, FaceTime. He was FaceTiming the girls. He was sending me money because now he's trying to change and do the right thing. He made a real amends to me the summer before he died. And we FaceTime, and usually before he'd be like, yeah, I'm sorry I did that. I'm sorry I did that. But he like went down the list of like the things that he did, like the cheating, all these girls, all this type of stuff. And so here I am, I'm still thinking something's wrong with me because the father of my children doesn't think I'm good enough, right? Or he wouldn't be sleeping with all these girls. And he said to me, nothing was ever wrong with you. I always loved you. I am a sick person and needed constant validation. Even though I knew that already, I still needed to hear it.
Yeah, it hits different when they say it.
So then a few days before he died, I was at a doctor's appointment, and because they found a lump in my breast, but it was nothing. And he was saying, can I talk to Liv? That's our second daughter. I'm like, oh, she's with her math tutor. He's like, you're such a good mother. I'm so grateful that you're the mother of my children. I could never have kids. Imagine having kids with anybody else. And he says, why are you at the doctor's? And I told him, and he says, are you scared? And I said, no. He says, why? He goes, because I have a big God. Now, he was a tough town kid, never mind God. And he said to me, he said, how do I find him? This is a few days before he died. And I told him what I believe on how you find God. And then that was the last time I talked to him. And like, I have to believe that he did find God in those last moments, even though he was under the influence, and that God saw fit to take him. I was mad at God. And I was so devastated. but at the same time, I'm like, all these other losses that I suffered, I was so desensitized because I was used to it. But this, I just didn't expect to happen.
That's a blow.
Yeah. And then his backpack got delivered to my house with the stuff in it. And the people who sent the backpack didn't know what was in it. Now I'm not eating, I'm not sleeping, I'm not showering. So I find the stuff that killed him. And I think I'm 12 years sober at the time. Yeah. And I just wanted a little bit of relief because I'd rather you punch me in the face than feel that type of emotional pain.
Yeah.
And I really contemplated. I was like this close. And in the moment, I said, like, God, you really have to help me. And when I said that, I immediately got the image of my oldest daughter, who was 16 when he died, laying over his casket, begging him to wake up. I'm like, I can't like put them through that.
Yeah.
And the only thing I can attribute to, like, because I didn't do that in my own strength, is like,
a higher power.
yeah. Yep. Strength in God. Yep. So, yeah.
That's powerful.
Thank you. I
No,
appreciate
seriously.
that. Yeah.
You have a really great story.
Thank you. Thank
like
you.
I said, you do a lot. You've done a lot. You're going to continue to do a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And it's great to know you.
You too.
What do we have for timing? I don't want to keep you for. I don't have my phone.
41 minutes.
Oh,
Okay.
Look at
Can
that.
I end with my favorite scripture? Because I
Please.
always do that. So, like,
Please.
my favorite scripture is Jeremiah 29:11, and it's for I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you a hope and a future. And if He's done that for me, He can do that for anybody else.
I love that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We good?
We're good.
All right.
But you want to talk about
What?
this? You have the Sober Bowl.
Oh, the Sober Bowl.
Sober Bowl is November 8th. We couldn't get it in Charlestown.
How come?
I don't know. They like ditched me.
You should have texted me.
I know. I know.
I was
Whatever.
the mayor of Charlestown in 2013, just so you know.
No, you weren't.
Yeah, so it's an honorary tradition that they do.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to sell your votes. And I won by 1,500 votes. And me and my daughter went to Ireland. Yeah. Yep.
See what I'm saying? Like, you always just pick these things out of your pocket. I was the mayor by like.
It was 1,500 votes I won. We got to go to
can't.
Ireland.
You
Yeah.
see what I'm saying, dude? She's just always like, here's another thing I've done.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah, it couldn't be in Charlestown this year. I don't know why. I never even got explanations, but I moved it over to right here in Revere. And it'll be an all-day event. We look forward to it.
November 8th.
November 8th. It's a Saturday this year. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll be able to go.
All right.
Yeah, it's a Saturday.
Yeah.
Hopefully it doesn't rain or
Oh,
isn't too
Lord,
windy.
that's the worst.
I know. It was
No.
freezing the last 2 years, but whatever. They were at the end of November. I'm hoping this will be a little bit better.
Yeah, a little bit better.
And then that's it, right? That's all I got for now.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.